Hey, Scott.
Hey, Nick.
Oh, what's up? Why do you look so down?
I can't believe Back to the Future Minute is over.
Hey, it's okay, man. You got Spider-Man Minute. You got the Doctor's Companion. What more do you want? What? You want your favorite scientist and little assistant? You want to do Doc and Marty? Right? You'll get over it. You'll be fine. Oh, who the hell put this on?
It's on random.
For God's sake.
Look, it's not that I want to keep doing Back to the Future Minute forever. I'm just trying to say that I need something a little more. I want to get out there and do interesting stuff, podcast a little, and I'd love to be able to do it with you, but I want you to want to do it too.
I agree. We should get out there, but what can we do?
Well, how about a cornetto?
A cornetto?
Edgar Wright's Cornetto trilogy. First, we'll start with a bite of Shaun of the Dead. Then, we'll take some shots of Hot Fuzz, and later, we'll wrap it all up with a couple of pints at the world's end. How's that for a slice of fried gold?
Yeah, boy!
The Cornetto Minute, the daily podcast where we take car, go to Mum's, kill Phil, grab Liz, go to the Winchester, and have a nice cold pint 1 minute at a time.
It all blows over starting with Shaun of the Dead this October at duelinggenre.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Dueling Genre.
Welcome back to Rocky Minute, the daily podcast where we cover the movie Rocky 1 minute at a time. I am Doug Greenberg.
And I'm Jason Lee.
And joining us again, Travis Bowe from Real Comic Heroes. Travis, welcome.
Hey, what's going on?
Same old as yesterday.
Right.
Suffering through this date, 1 minute at a time.
Yep.
Well, today we're knocking out minute 42, which begins with Rocky exploiting poor Adrian's looks, but not in the way you might think. And it ends with Rocky spitting some bullshit about the meaning of southpaw. So he continues to humiliate Adrian, an unknowing Adrian, by saying, he goes, look at her. You can see she ain't feeling too good. He keeps talking as the camera cuts away to Adrian. I mean, he's right. She does look a little sickly. But he's like talking on and on about how good she doesn't look, and the camera actually cuts to her.
It shows her with her head down.
Yeah,
and from her point of view, is she watching the two of them looking at her and kind of talking?
All right, talk about self-conscious.
Yeah,
but I wonder if cuts like this are what got the editor his Oscar. The humiliating moment for poor Adrian.
She does look sick, though.
She does look sick.
Yeah, just one of those pale people,
Yeah, her oversized coat and hat on.
Yeah.
No,
go ahead. Go to the next thing. It's the
okay.
next one, I think.
Well, Rocky finishes up by saying he'd appreciate it if the guy would let her on the ice for a few minutes.
What does he say? The doctor.
That was the last minute. The doctors say she should go out and exercise more.
Okay, never mind then.
What? Go ahead.
No.
Now we can bring it back.
No.
You can't talk forward. You can talk backwards.
I was gonna say it was kind of the doctors. Said she gets some more exercise, and I thought ice skating was the best thing. I've never heard anyone talk about ice skating being the best exercise.
No.
Like you're in the doctor's office, he's like, "You should get some more exercise. Why don't you try ice skating?"
Yeah.
And if you're not feeling well, the last place you should be is on two metal blades on a sheet of ice
In a cold room.
in a cold room, bundled up.
Yep.
Okay, so good. I'm sorry. I'm in a daze.
No,
Yesterday.
it's okay. Well, today we're fresh. You start fresh today.
Yeah,
new
it's
day.
a new day. I
There we
didn't
go.
just get home from work, so let's go.
Yeah, I really dig this bargaining scene between them.
Yeah.
And I like how the attendant doesn't back down from
Not
his,
at all.
from his $10 for 10 minutes. And it's like so far we've only seen Rocky win at the
in the ring at the beginning of the movie. Because, like, he's got to, he has to obey Mr. Gazzo. Mickey takes his locker and gives him all kinds of shit. Mm-hmm. Even Paulie kind of gets his way with Rocky, kind of forcing him into this date that, he wanted to go on, but not like this. And so now, even with the attendant standing his ground, it's like they really want us to see that Rocky doesn't have a lot of, I don't know, like
a lot of notches in the win column.
Yeah.
Well, I was wondering, like, is the ice attendant just a really good negotiator, or is Rocky a really bad negotiator? and why? The attendant doesn't back down at all from the $10, but when the attendant goes $10 for 10 minutes, and Rocky comes back with $9. Like, why would you go $1 down? Well, there's nowhere else to go unless you're going to go to like $9.50.
Well, he originally counted with 8.
Yeah.
Did he count with 8?
Yeah.
Because then he's like, well, it's Thanksgiving.
Oh, right.
So then he says, $9.
Why, if I'm negotiating and someone says $10, I'll probably go to 5.
Yeah.
At that point. Like,
yeah.
Give a little room to haggle.
Yeah.
Not Rocky. So Rocky goes from 8. The guy counters with 10. Rocky goes to 9. The guy counters with 10. Yeah, you said bargaining before, Travis, but that indicates like a little back and forth.
A little give on both sides, yeah.
Yeah. There's not really much.
Yeah.
So Rocky thinks hard for like 3 seconds and then says, "Give her the blades."
Yeah.
Thus begins the most romantic scene in movie history.
Really?
No, not really.
Yeah, this thing about the ice rink that I was reading, says that this is the location of one of the most romantic scenes in movie history. I'm like, is it?
Wow.
I don't see it like that. But...
I mean, there's touches of cuteness, maybe you could say, but I mean, there's.
I'll give you it's a genuine scene. It's very. It's not overly written. Obviously, it's not like overly acted. It wasn't like they didn't do anything to try and make it this big romantic scene. It kind of just came out that way, and so it's a genuine, sweet, thing. But
people love it though.
I don't know if I would even use the word romantic at all. But you wouldn't expect you're talking to, a very shy, introverted person, and Rocky, who is not too quick-witted. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't expect him to have a romantic date. Like, what did we think was going to happen here? He was going to carry her through a field of daisies. This is what I expected. This is exactly an awkward first date. Yeah.
But I think it's that you're with them for the entire awkward date. I think a lot of movies would cut away. A lot of movies would cut away more throughout the date, and you'd get the impression that they have an awkward date and she's not having a great time, or maybe she eventually does start to have enjoy herself. But here we get basically the entirety of the date, and it's just awkward from start to finish.
I mean, we'll cover later once they actually start skating.
I was watching the Rocky saga on YouTube. It's a behind the scenes of Rocky, of all the movies, and when they cover when they cover Rocky 1, they spend a lot of time talking about this ice skating scene, and one of the guys, I can't remember, I was going to look it up before we started here, but I didn't. One of the guys in the thing, he calls this scene two misfits holding each other up.
That's good, yeah.
And he went on to say how it's reflective of the rest of the movie and their relationship. Is they're two outcasts that came together, they found something in each other, and they spend the rest of the movie, taking care of each other and a quote unquote holding each other up. Mm-hmm. And so he compared it to that, but just the phrase "two misfits holding each other up" really sums up more of a romantic date. I would use that phrase before.
Yeah. I like that.
Date.
Misfits.
He calls them misfits.
So we cut to Adrian awkwardly stumbling onto the ice with her skates while Rocky walks on the ice in street shoes. Sylvester Stallone can't skate.
I read, though, that he didn't tell them that until the scene was about to start. And he, right before, they were both supposed to be skating originally, and then right before the scene started, he told them he couldn't ice skate.
I like how it's played off about, he doesn't skate because he's a fighter and because of his ankles, he doesn't want to. It's bad for his ankles or whatever. So I like that it's played off that way.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell me that and I'd believe it.
Yeah, totally.
We all have stuff on our resume that's not true.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. Yeah. One of those actor things, like, yeah, I can ride a horse and I can skate and
Speak German.
yeah, of course.
Rocky on ice skates, I think would look terrible anyway. So
Yeah,
glad they.
Anyone on ice, not on ice skates, looks terrible. So he's gonna look terrible regardless.
Yeah. So she does when she go back to when she first steps on the ice. She does like a lunge forward,
yeah.
like she's trying to.
Get away
Get
from him.
Sure. I was gonna say get her balance, but yeah, okay.
Okay.
She's making a run for it.
Yeah.
She's gonna skate back to the house, lock herself in. Yeah, what? But this is how everybody looks when they first get. I've been to Rockefeller Center where I sat up there and watched other people ice skate. While my wife was begging me, "Can we go ice skate?" And I was like, "No, I don't want to ice skate. Can we just watch other people ice skate?" This is how everyone starts off ice skate.
That's gonna cost you $2.
Right.
Yeah.
And next time we're at Rockefeller Center, I'm gonna be thinking like, "Hey, people paid $2 for this back in 1976. That'd be like $20 now."
Yeah.
It seems like every episode we get a little tiny glimpse into your life.
We go into Rockefeller Center every year for Christmas, and every year she begs me to go ice skating, and I stand my ground every year. I'm like ice skating.
Good for
when it comes to
you.
Negotiating. She's like, "Can we go ice skate for 10 minutes? No minutes. 5 minutes? No minutes. 1 minute? No minutes. All right, no minutes. We go home."
That's grade A negotiating right there.
Yeah.
Oh man. So when he mentions that he hasn't skated since he was 15, that's when he started fighting. Does she do like an eye roll?
Oh, okay. So I'm glad you brought that up. It's
Okay,
like,
you picked that up?
oh yeah, it's at second 25, and she closes her eyes and sighs just for a second.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's super easy to miss, I think.
Oh, she does.
Because I think you're kind of supposed to be paying attention to him, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not really sure what to make of it. I didn't take it as an eye roll. I took it as a sigh and just like her centering herself almost, or she's either frustrated or annoyed at how the evening is going and she doesn't want to be here, or it's okay, I'm on the ice now. I can just relax. I can skate around for, a few minutes, and then he'll take me home. So I don't know what the sigh and eye closing is, but
But do you think that later on, in 3 days, we're going to talk about when she asked him, a question about this, and I was kind of watching that, and now coming back to this, kind of getting the impression that, Rocky's been trying to pick Adrian up for quite some time now, and maybe she doesn't want to be involved with him because he is a fighter. Mm-hmm. This is a world she's not used to at all. She has no experience with fighting, except for maybe fighting Paulie at the time. But
yeah.
she has no experience in this life, and this is something maybe she doesn't like it. Maybe I don't want to foreshadow or jump ahead, but it's not her world, and she doesn't like it. So maybe just they were on a date, they were having a nice time, and she's kind of like when she was getting ready, maybe she's like, I hope he doesn't bring up fighting. I don't want to talk about fighting.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
This is the first time he brings it up and talks about fighting, and she's just like, oh, here we go. Like,
Yeah.
This is what we're going to talk about for us.
that could be, yeah.
So I get the feeling that she's not into the whole fighting.
Okay. See, I get the impression from when we first meet her in the pet shop, and she just kind of shrinks away, every time that Rocky either says something to her, I don't know if she's intimidated by just all men. Maybe she's got maybe her and Paulie's dad maybe was a really aggressive guy, and maybe she doesn't like, guys like that,
Right,
and
yeah.
worries that that's just who Rocky is, because I don't get the impression that he's ever asked her out before. I think this is like their first,
Right.
first instance of this.
That's a good point. He's tried to talk to her, but he's never really.
But I think he scares her when he talks to her, just because of probably his reputation or just the fact that he is a fighter,
Yeah, there was
He
some.
did ask her to go to the basketball game that night.
Oh, yeah.
That was like a half-assed.
Yeah.
He already knew the answer before he asked. So.
Yeah.
And he didn't really ask her on this date, technically.
No, that was
Yeah.
arm twisting, a
Yeah.
little bit of going on.
Right, so.
All right, so she's stumbling along, and he says, "You're a pretty good skater."
Well,
Is she?
he's never seen ice capades or anything, or to compare it to good skating.
After, like, I took my notes for all of these minutes, I just went back and watched her during each minute, and her just, like, trudging along on the ice, man. She's... If she is a good ice skater in real life, she really plays like she's not. It's pretty comical.
Yeah.
So he's continuing a conversation that, happened off camera. Like he was, because he says, like I was saying on the way here, fighting used to be tops for me, but no more. He says all he wanted to do by fighting was prove that he wasn't a bum and that he had the stuff to make a good pro. So we're getting a little background and insight as to why he got started fighting. Like what goes through his head, by fighting. Yeah, he just wanted to prove he wasn't a bum and he had the stuff to make a good pro.
Sometimes I have a hard time knowing if he's trying to make excuses or if he's trying to just talk for talking's sake because she's not talking, or I don't know if he's telling the truth the entire time. Because he also says, like, fighting is just a hobby for him. Mm-hmm. But then, so far we've only seen that he seems to want to be a fighter. So
he says, wait, let me, yeah, when she asks him, so you never got the chance, and he says, I'm not crying about it because I still fight. I do it as a hobby.
Yeah.
When we saw him early on in the movie, like, he got his head kicked in by Spider Rico, and then the whole aftermath of that, when he goes back to his apartment, he, like, sinks into this depression. Like, that's a hobby? Like, that's your hobby?
Right, yeah.
Something that makes you feel terrible? And you're not... Your hobby... I mean, this is our hobby, and we're not exactly getting paid for it. But we have another job. You figure you set out to be a fighter. Your goal is to make money off of it,
right?
No.
Yeah.
But it's kind of weird that he would say he got into fighting to prove that he wasn't a bum, that he could be a good pro. But it would kind of be like you'd have to already be into fighting. Like if you were already into fighting and then said, "I kept on going because I wanted to prove to people that I wasn't a bum," but like to wake up one day and be like, what can I do to prove to people I'm not a bum? I'm going to be a boxer. Like that's I don't know. I think he already would have had to have been into it. And in terms of a hobby, like we said, this is our hobby. Like when we wrap this up today, I don't go upstairs all depressed and lay in my bed.
Right.
And podcasting's over for the day. Tomorrow.
Right.
So I think he probably was already interested in it before. But that's a good point, though. Maybe he's just rambling, just talking just to talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's not really getting much from her, so...
And really, what else does he have to talk about?
You notice, though, him talking, he's a lot more confident than the last time they spoke to each other in the pet shop when they're not making eye contact.
Right.
He's kind of just talking quietly and not sure of himself. Here, at least in this scene, he is confident. He's a chatterbox in this scene.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I have it's one of my notes later for the next minute, I think. But yeah. Maybe just being in a neutral location. I mean, it's kind of more her advantage because she knows how to skate, but at least it's not the pet shop where her boss is kind of looming around and not at her place where Polly's, leering around. So maybe it's just the change of scenery and they're just kind of on even ground, I guess.
Yeah,
well, but Rocky doesn't have, like, Adrian's the shy one with some social anxiety. Like, Rocky's really not. Rocky's very popular, very talkative guy, so it's not surprising that he's talking so much.
Yeah.
So, what's coming out of his mouth is rather surprising.
I also like this when they're doing this part. It's a long shot, like the camera's all the way across the ice from where they're standing, and you get that sense of their isolation, like just them, like they're lonely. Not they're lonely, but they're alone here in this place. Yeah,
it's nice that it doesn't like keep showing the attendant guy like sitting and waiting on his Zamboni, like trying to finish up.
You know what else too? If there was a crowd of people, like, do you think they would be as talkative and candid as they are? Because she obviously has a social disorder. She probably wouldn't even want to skate around a bunch of people, let alone carry on a conversation.
Well, she has skated before, I'm guessing. So
how do you know it wasn't always in a closed rink?
You know what's funny though? As I'm watching the end of the scene, there's a banner up, and it says Ice Capades Skating School. Mm-hmm. And earlier today, I was watching this, and it wasn't a very good computer, so like I couldn't see it clearly or whatever. And I was trying to figure out what it said, and I was googling other things or whatever. And what I really was convinced it said, and I kept googling but couldn't find anything, was Joe Cespedes Skating School. One day I'm looking up Joe Cespedes Skating School, and if you look at it, like look what I'm looking at right now. Like, come on, you can see Joe Cespedes.
Ice Capades. Joe Cespedes.
I'm gonna put a still shot of what I'm looking at on the Facebook page so you can all see and tell me if you see Joe Cespedes.
Oh man, that's great.
Yeah, go ahead, so.
Well, the problem is that Rocky's a southpaw. She asked, "What's a southpaw?" It means you're left-handed, which throws your timing off. Which is, I mean, we kind of end here, but the southpaw conversation continues tomorrow. It's a shame we have to wait a whole 24 hours to talk about the southpaw conversation.
I have notes on that.
Yeah.
Just to address the timing part of it, he gives the excuse like it messes up timing
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. But I looked it up. I just was under the impression that nobody wanted to fight a southpaw because you're at the same stance. It's like looking in a mirror, so it's tough to whatever. But I couldn't find anything about messing up timing. But maybe we'll find out tomorrow.
He clearly has no idea what he's talking about.
No, he's about to tell me such a BS story about where the term southpaw came from.
And that's kind of what I was getting at before with just not. I don't know if I can believe everything he says. You know.
Yeah.
This kind of goes back to this. So.
That's true.
And we'll get to this a little bit. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah,
Tomorrow.
We'll pick it up tomorrow.
All right.
So Real Comic Heroes.
That's right.
Is that where everybody can find you?
Yeah, I mean, you search Real Comic Heroes in iTunes, you'll find us. We're at Real Comic Heroes on Facebook, Twitter. I mean, yeah, it's pretty easy to find. We're
That's Real, REEL.
correct.
As in movie reel?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Tweez.
I love a good play on words.
Yeah.
And as for us, you can find us on Twitter, Rocky Minute. You can find us at our Facebook listeners group, Mighty Mix. We're posting a whole bunch of cool pictures and got some discussions going about, the minutes that we heard today and in the past. You can find us on duelinggenre.com. That's our network host, where the great Scott Corelli so graciously invited us to join them. And
Good dude.
He is a good dude, man. Really is. Or you can email us, rockyminute@gmail.com. All right. And we'll continue this tomorrow. Some more good date material. So come back and join us on the next Rocky Minute.